In August of 2015, I became of legal age. And about 2 weeks before my birthday, my mom sat me down to explain that some bills would soon be my responsibility. I worked a decent job after school that gave me some financial freedom, but I lacked financial literacy. A week after my birthday, I sat down at the kitchen table to pay 3 bills. Paying those 3 bills took me 4 hours. I'd foolishly told my mother that I didn't need any help after all. How hard could paying 3 relatively cheap bills be? I had no idea how to find out my own checking account number in order to link those bills to my account to pay them. And I spent the majority of those 4 hours trying to find it and typing in the wrong number and then locking myself out of my accounts. While I was venting about my bill paying adventures to my friend and neighbor, who had graduated the year before me, he mentioned taking economics and personal finance through our high school and that it really helped him. But I wrinkled up my nose and thought, what could an economics and personal finance course possibly do for me other than make me sleepy? But my neighbor was pretty persistent, and eventually I broke down and accepted that the beginner's course could probably help me out with paying bills and any other form of adulting. The following month was the start of my senior year, and the first day of school I went straight to my guidance counselor's office and begged her to find a spot for me in our school's Introduction to Economics and Personal Finance course. I was lucky. There was one spot available. It ran the same time as my only study hall. I greedily, yet sadly, grabbed that course transfer request and filled it out and walked in to that class with only a few questions, but I gained an abundance of answers. I couldn't believe how few students were in that class with me, especially with all that class had to offer. Alexis Breakbill, a journalist for Edmonton.com, lists several advantages directly related to high school students taking economics and personal finance courses. I found 4 to be the most compelling, so those are the 4 I'll be going over. First, nowadays, teenagers are more likely going to college or at least considering the option than not. For most college-bound teens, that means student loans. And while those student loans may be the new normal, nearly 3/4 of all college graduates have an amount of debt associated with these loans that is unmanageable. Understanding interest and refinance rates could save college graduates time and money. Second, having a decent credit score is needed for just about anything. Need an apartment, a car, a cell phone contract? If you answered yes, then you need a decent credit score. Third, teens need to know about the debt and credit system. While some debt is truly unavoidable, many young adults find themselves in mountains of debt that started off as simple anthills. Understanding how credit cards and interest work can help teens avoid the costly mistake of signing up for cards with sky-high interest rates and pay those credit card debts off sooner. Lastly, but certainly not least, taking economics and personal finance courses means that you are more likely to have savings. Whether it's an emergency fund or a retirement plan, being able to have a budget that includes savings leads to making better financial choices. As the years have gone by, I've been able to make sound financial decisions. And since taking economics and personal finance, I've noticed a lot of people my age and older are struggling to make those same sound financial decisions. My father, for example, decided to refinance his mortgage with a variable interest rate and is now suffering consequences. I often wondered what would happen to my father's mortgage if economics and personal finance would have been a graduation requirement for him. Economics and personal finance courses bring financial literacy, and that isn't something that only matters to teens. It matters to adults too, like my father. Mike Techuan wrote a financial wellness article explaining that the PFIN index is a form of test that estimates your financial literacy based on your score. The higher the score means a greater understanding of personal finance. For the results for the 2019 PFIN index, it showed that the adults who took the test answered 51% of the questions correctly, meaning the pass rate was nearly as high as the fail rate. That's a little scary. Now, I won't be dramatic and say that taking a basic economics and personal finance course changed my life, but it did give me the tools of financial literacy to make better choices and to help me get further in life. And with that foundation, I was able to make inquiries with my bank that provided me with offers and incentives that nobody I know has even heard of. At one point, I asked myself, what could this class possibly do for me? Now I ask myself, what could I have possibly done without this class? Economics and personal finance courses should be a necessary requirement for graduation. If public schools think that health and physical education courses will give students the tools to be healthier, why shouldn't they think that economics and personal finance courses will give students the tools to be better off in the world of financials?